Good evening, everyone. The next installment of the DFS Down Under Show, live again here on a Wednesday night in Hobart Town. Crappy day down here in Hobart today. So much crappy that my fellow co-host in Big Hef is kind of struggling already into the show tonight with a massive hay fever. So let's get the excuses out of the way, Hef. How you going tonight?
I'm very well, Smatho. We're going to talk about struggling. Just run us through your dinner efforts tonight. I've just seen you eat a zinger combo in about 70 seconds. Run us through what happened there.
Let's just say that the quality produce that's produced down here in Hobart wasn't up to scratch tonight, and the old Dal just decided to whip down to the local KFC down here in Hobart, and yes, I've got some Kentucky Fried that was
the old
delivered.
Dal took one bite of what you cooked, and she went down and got KFC.
Oh no! It took me one bar, and I thought, this is not for you. This is not fit for consumption. So she went down. So
it's
yes, well, shout out to the Dal. Thank you very much. Now, Hef tweeted out earlier today that we're having a Draftkings cap giveaway. So with thanks to Draftkings and Clinton on Twitter, he's provided us with a couple of caps to give away tonight on the show. So if you want to be in line for a Draftkings cap, we'll be giving away 2 caps tonight. So the first cap is for our viewers on the live stream tonight. All you have to do tonight is comment on our live stream with your Daily Fantasy Rankings profile. If you don't have a Daily Fantasy Rankings profile, it's easy to sign up on dailyfantasyrankings.com.au and sign up as a member, free to join. So jump on the comments there. We'll get Avocado. Keep an eye on the old comments tonight. So jump on, free hat giveaway. Now, also, for those who are not here on the live stream tonight, we haven't missed out you guys as well. So on our YouTube video, which you'll be seeing right now, jump in the comments. So first of all, like the show, like this particular episode, get in the comments, put down you subscribe to the show as well. Like, subscribe to the channel, and then obviously in the comments, chuck down your DFR username, and again, we'll give away a cap. As I said, if you don't have a username, get on the Daily Fantasy Rankings website and sign up. Chuck your username on that, and we'll give someone a free Draftkings cap. What do you reckon, Hev? Pretty easy.
I was looking forward to modelling the Draftkings cap tonight, and it seems mine has been lost in the mail, but it seems a pretty easy way to get it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people subscribed already, so just if you are, pop your name in there. If you're not, subscribe, and go and get it, because they look like pretty good caps. You'd have one, Smatho, I'm sure.
No, I don't. Sorry. No. Merchandise doesn't get down to Hobart that easily down here. So we'll be smashing that like button on the YouTube channel, and subscribing and leaving our. We're on.
Shout out to Nicky Boys Potatoes as the clubhouse leader and the most interesting username.
Oh,
in the chat there, and great friend of the show, Milanos. Good to see you around again.
Jeez, Hef, with 23 rounds of AFL footy, we were finally here the last game of the season. So big show here tonight. So we'll muck around. Make sure you put usernames in the tube. Now, as always, Smatho's 2 thumbs up is always back for another week, and this is quite a good occasion. Let's call it a great occasion. We've had Trent 9 getting the 2 thumbs up tonight with a double whammy Sunday special. Wins the Draft Stars comp on Sunday. Wins the Moneyball slate on Sunday. Let's whip up the teams. Hef, I don't think I've seen this all this season, and I haven't seen this for quite a long time. This is quite remarkable.
Yeah, you were really excited, actually, on Sunday night. You sent it through. Has anyone ever done this before? I was like, I don't think so this year. I can't remember seeing it. No surprise to see a few Hawks in there. He didn't go the full 5 Hawks, which we thought might be the way to take home that slate, but 4 in each. That Draft Stars team was pretty straightforward when you look at it. The only thing that wasn't that probably gave him the edge over the field is he didn't have Mumford or English, which we'll get into a bit later.
Yes, okay.
And then that Moneyball, obviously the slate breaker there, Patrick Lipinski, with the big 129 at 6.5K, 3%. That does look like the reason he took down the slate there. So that's a great effort, Trent 9.
Jeez, and he only threw a few in as well. It wasn't a stupid amount of multi-entries. It was just a nice balanced amount of injury. I know on draft stars, I think he only hit 1 out of his 10. The other 9 were absolutely not great. So, but
that's all you need.
That's all you need. You just need the one. Simple. He must have been his first side he put in, and the rest was all dart row. So, Trent 9. He's a DFR member as well, so hopefully you're a big fan of the show. Make sure you put your username in the comment section. You might get a cap as well. But for you, get the emoji up. Thumbs up to you, Trent 9. Well done. Bloody king of the mountain. 2-2 for you, mate. All right. So, you did touch on about what happened on Sunday, and let's have a little bit of quick chat about this late outs in AFL and how people actually handle this kind of particular occurrence here in DFS.
Well, it's been a pretty topical issue all season, really, hasn't it? Back when we were talking about the drop one competitions that the Draft Stars brought in. Did you play Sunday, Smatho?
No, I actually didn't. Sorry, I didn't actually, but I actually played the Saturday before, and I had 9 out of 10 of Rowan Marshall. So that kind of reflects on me just going, well, you went all right in the end, but if he wasn't out, then yeah, I would have been gone. That's me done for the day.
Yep. I only played 2 teams on Sunday. I had a bit of stuff to attend to, and I put Mumford in both my sides, so I was a bit dirty when the news came through. But after throwing a few things around the house and having a chat with a few mates, it was interesting just to see the emotions of a few different mates. One in particular was devastated and racking his brain for the rest of the afternoon trying to work out what a solution to the problem would be. Another one, the great Briz 17, he took it in his stride. 50 teams, he had stacks and stacks of Mumford and English, and he just said, well, that's DFS. That's what happens. He changed his tune a little bit that night when he realised he would have came first and second if Mumford played. So that was a bit harsh, but I think his approach was probably the one I agree with, and these things just sort of happen, and it's going to even out in the long run, I think, because sometimes it might be your players that pull out. Sometimes it might be a high-owned guy that you haven't played. I think in the long run it's going to even out, but at the time it does take a little bit getting over, doesn't it? So
what do you reckon? Look, I'm the same as your reactions. Like, I'm a bit ho-hum. It's like, okay, fair enough. Maybe I might barely cash because there'll be others in the same boat, especially if they had high ownership. But what do you reckon the alternatives are? Obviously, we talked about drop one earlier this year. There's a lot of talk about possibly introducing, a bit of late swap or an emergency or a substitute. Everyone seems to have an idea, and it's just not quite there, don't you think?
Yeah. So I played a fair bit of, well, not a fair bit. I played a little bit of DraftKings NBA last season, and they have a late swap there, which obviously NBA, there's a lot more team news than we sort of have to deal with in AFL while the slate's actually running. So the slate swap is a good idea for avoiding those late outs. But one thing I did notice with the late swap option is it's no longer just to put your teams in and your work's done and it's time to follow along. You've got to be monitoring for the rest of the slate, because if one of those guys pulls out and you don't adjust, you're basically lighting on money and fire playing against people who are adjusting for late outs. And it's not just the late outs, it's also some guys might have a few low-owned guys go off in the early games, and then they can use the late swap to bring in some safer guys to capitalise on that good start. So the strategy is totally different. And I'm not saying whether it's better or worse, but it's definitely a different beast. And if you don't have time to sit there and cover all the games, then you could be at a disadvantage.
I find that obviously in America, we have a lot of games that kick off at the same time. NFL, NBA. Obviously, NBA has its own issues in terms of late outs. But in NFL, there's hardly any injuries to report. AFL's, on reflection, is pretty good. You get the teams, day and a half, 2 days before. You get your emergencies. You don't play the emergencies. That's a pretty silly thing to do. And if there's a late out, you hold your breath, and then if you don't have it, then that's great. We're in a country where we can't play all 6, 5, 4 AFL games at the same time. We can't handle it. So we're not going to have that ever in our lifetimes. Do you think, as an industry, we just have to accept that it is just DFS and move on, or do we have anything at all that we can hang our hats on about this particular problem? Because this has happened in round 22. 2 players on the same slate. If it was just the one, then you accept the bad with the good. But is there anything that we could look at?
Yeah, I think the fact that they were the 2 highest owned rucks in such a specialised position made so many people affected. I think it's probably important to note that the sites themselves understand this is a pretty big issue, and they can leave a pretty bad taste in a player's mouth if one of their players is laid out and they get a 0 and basically wrecks their lineups. So to think that they're not trying to work out a solution that's going to suit everyone would be naive, I think. And obviously the drop one was an idea that Draft Stars had, and it suits a certain type of player, and some people like playing them and some people don't. So I think that it's always going to be up for discussion, and whether someone can come up with a perfect solution one day, who knows? But the way it is, I think we've got to start maybe looking at, is there a possible way to safeguard against it or even take advantage of it? Do you remember the play-on competition last year?
Yes. Yeah, it was the Super Contest, yes.
Yeah, so this is the major example that I can think of this is, in that particular contest was $25,000 up for grabs, I think. Or was it more?
Yeah,
25 to the winner it was, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was a huge amount of money on play-on. And on this particular slate, Brodie Smith was really low price for whatever reason. So he was owned 60-odd% from memory, and he was a laid out. And line for life, from memory, he was on Big Footy digging around and sort of read some rumours that Brodie Smith was going to be pulling out. And he went ahead and played all his teams without Brodie Smith. And then obviously when Brodie Smith was a laid out, he had a massive advantage and took home a massive amount of money. So it's just something to think about when setting lineups is maybe doing a bit of extra research and seeing who might be in doubt and going to that way. Like that Brodie Smith example is a bit of a perfect storm. It's not something to take advantage of every week, but it's just another little angle to the game. And personally, I think what is currently set up at the moment is the best solution, but I'm not really willing to push that on people because everyone has their own emotions and reactions, and that's what we're all entitled to.
Yeah. Look, there's no perfect solution for this half. Like, we can sit here for the next 10, 15 minutes and put up ideas. Look, we can chat to the daily fantasy sites as well and, put our suggestions across, and I'm sure they receive suggestions all the time. So they are looking at, they'll definitely look at it, right? And if there's something that they can think that's great for the community, sure, they'll implement it. And as I said, they've already implemented things in the past as drop one, things like that. So long story short, I think we should just take the good with the bad. If we were playing a head to head and you had Mumford, I'd be like, all right, I've got a shot of winning it. And all of a sudden you still might beat me, So
Probably would.
I probably would. So, so yeah, just take the good with the bad. Like I said, NBA players are a bit more season hardened, whereas AFL is a little bit hard to swallow. So, look, we're up to round 23. This is the last kind of big slates of the year. So from there, we've got our single contest slate. So, but we'll take these sites are taken on board, and we'll see where we can come up with something in the future. Yeah,
good call. Do you want to just run through the contest again?
Sure.
Might need to
sure. So we have Draftkings caps to give away. So 2 caps to give away. The first one, if you're watching the live show tonight here on Facebook Live, in the comments section, put your DFR username. If you don't have a DFR username, join up now at dailyfantasyrankings.com.au. Just chuck in the comments, and then a lucky winner will come from the Facebook Live stream tonight. If you are actually watching this after the show's recorded, chuck it on our YouTube channel, Daily Fantasy Rankings. Like the show, subscribe to the channel, put your username in the comments, and then whooshka, you're in the draw for a DraftKings cap as presented by DraftKings and Clinton from DK Australia. So, speaking of Australia, the Ashes, Thursday night, we're up 1-0. Did you see Steve Smith go down like a bag of spuds? Wasn't that remarkable? It was one of the best cricket I've ever seen, by the way. Jofra Archer's our boy, by the way. He's down at the Hurricanes. So, but now he's out of the next test, and that's put a bit of a spanner in terms of team selection and obviously the ability to win a game. But for DFS purposes, it's actually opened up the slate pretty well.
Yeah, that Labuschagne, he did a great job too, replacing Smith. Hasn't done a whole lot in his career so far, but to cop one in the face from Jofra Archer's second ball, get up, tell the doctor and whoever to clear off and go on and score 50 runs, that shows a bit of ticket from the young fella. So no doubt he's going to stay in the side and replace Smith. Everyone seems pretty down. You're especially negative, Smatho. I've never seen you so negative about the Aussies, all because they're there.
I'm just being objective. I'm just trying to make some money from DFS, and if that means England needs to win, I'll play England players in my side, and then just quietly root for the boys on the punt possibly, because they're a bit of value this week. I think their odds will probably drift now with Smith being out. So, but anyway,
I can't bring myself to play the Poms. I might just sit out the draft stars. You can be the trader. I'm on some Aussie pride.
Now, if you're keen to actually watching cricket and playing some DFS, chuck on the DFR website. I've got my article, and I've done a little primer as well. So for those who just want to have a little multimedia style, there's a little primer on the site today, which I put up. 12,000 on Draft Stars and 8,000 on Moneyball. So get amongst it. Thursday, 8 p.m. is the lock. Let's move on to the other sporting event on Thursday, apart from NRL, which is always good. The PGA Tour Championships on. 30 of the best PGA players have qualified for the Tour Championship at East Lake. And we've got an interesting format this week. I won't go into too much detail, but everyone's got a score already, Hef. So how's that work? Well, they compete in a playoff kind of system. You earn points, and then at the end of that, you get a score. So Justin Thomas, who won last week, which was just quietly tipped by Smatho and Cantlay and Tony Finau as well. I think they all made top 4. So they're all up high in the standings. They actually get a score under par, whereas the guys have come like 26 to 30 if they start on even par. So they're already 10 shots behind trying to win the damn thing. So it's a bit of a headache if you're on the punt. You've only got a few blokes who could really punt on this week, but for DFS purposes, it's actually quite intriguing. So the article's up on the website. Do check that out. I've got a couple of theories what you could do. And it's the last golf tournament for a few weeks. So get amongst it. There's 6,000 on Draft Stars and 800,000 on DraftKings. Wouldn't you mind? So 800,000. Wow. $5 entry. So get amongst that. Now, speaking of DraftKings, geez, on Saturday morning, I was just a little bit sleepy on Saturday morning after a very large Friday night. Just be honest, between you and Hef, and as I said, I'm surprised that Dale's giving me some KFC tonight because it wasn't great. But I didn't catch wind of that DraftKings were going to provide an NFL experience, and lo and behold, up comes it on the Twitter feed Saturday morning, and get yourself to New England to watch a Patriots game. How good is it?
Wow, that's unreal. Did you get any entries in, Smatho?
As I just sit on the fence for a while, and then I've checked it. Must have been Sunday afternoon. I was already half feeling. I think I better open the wallet and put the entry in. And before you know it, come Monday night, I think it was Tuesday morning. It was done. 100 entries. So, look, 5 days watching NFL in a box. Flights. It's amazing. It's an amazing prize, and it's probably one of the most eagerly anticipated now since the live final. Now it's got to come up pretty quick. It's a couple of weeks away, so stay tuned. Week 1 preview on the DFR site. I've got some things lined up in terms of getting the edge on your competition for that particular contest, and you never know, Hef. Since this experience was so pretty popular, there might be something else in the pipeline. If there might be something sneaky coming up. You never know. So stay.
the response was unreal, wasn't it?
Mm.
There's definitely a bit of buzz around. Good luck to everyone who's in that contest. Are you writing the NFL preview, Smatho, or we got someone else doing it?
I'll be reading it. I'm not.
You'll be
No, I'm a reader, not a writer. In the NFL. Now, look at just us. Yeah, just us. Just us. My good friends of mine. Yes. Now, we were bouncing some ideas, Hef. I'm not sure you're aware of this, but there's no AFL next week, and we're thinking, we might get the week off. But lo and behold, we bashed our heads together. We're thinking, what do you think of the DFR All Australian team 2019 AFL DFS?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. How you reckon it might work?
Is Hanley be straight on a halfback flank, will he?
No, I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about DFR users. An All Australian.
Oh, nice.
If you want to put yourself your 22 DFS players from the AFL and your all-time 22, you can go right ahead.
I've got a non-Australian 22 that I can think of straight off the top. But no, I like that idea. So, what position do you think I'm going to fill, Smatho?
Oh, look. What do you think?
Well, get in. That's my first question.
Well, how many times have you been to training this year, you reckon?
Well, I didn't turn up to the live final, so that's about as often as I used to turn up to training. Didn't turn up, and the teams didn't turn up either. It was a horrid day. But if I can sneak into your All-Australian team, I'd be that'd go some of the way to redeeming myself.
Oh, no, this is not my team. No, this is not just one selector. This is going to be the people's team. So, all throughout next week, we'll be running Twitter polls. We'll put the articles out. We'll get your chance to say who should be in the DFS All-Australian team for 2019. Keep it on the site. Keep it on our socials. And, bit of banter. If you got someone who should be in there, let us know. Because if the selectors don't have you in the headlights, then you're not going to get a run. So if not, we might have to pick you on a back pocket. You never know.
I like it.
Right. It'll be good. I don't think I'll make it. I'll just be the media manager.
You'd be a bit of you'd be a wild card all-star mile style, I reckon, Smatho, straight in.
Oh, get the people's vote.
Yeah, the people's host.
Might have a bit of state of origin, a bit of Western Australia versus Tassie going on. You never know.
Oh, that's one for another day.
That's another day. All right, let's get stuck in some footy. All right, Collingwood playing Essendon on Friday night. So big matchup for the Bombers, big matchup for the Pies. 18.5 line Collingwood have at the moment with 156.5 total. Moneyball had put out a $20,000 single slate contest on Friday night. Draftkings have put out a $60,000 contest, and little promo battle broke out today. So Moneyball has put out the deposit offer, and DS has come out with 4 lineups, get a free entry on the Saturday. So it's good to see that the little re-engagement of competition is going on between the two sites.
Only 4 lineups this time, is it? Wow, that's a great promo.
Great promo. Both got great promos. So I might have to reach for the wallet again. Now, is this just before we get on the footy? Obviously, we lost Ross Lyon yesterday to Freo. And we've got a bit of a news feed here from the Avocado, and he's already been here about get on the Pies at 100 plus to win tomorrow.
100 plus?
100 plus.
It seems very big.
He's got it on in triple figures. Triple figures, he's got the price on.
Triple figures?
Yeah. He's got some, I know his mail hasn't been great this year, but he's got this theory that...
Come true lately.
Yeah, I know, but he reckons this is the Ross Lyon Cup. This could be Woosh's, final season game. It will play finals, but they're going to get Ross Lyon in. And he's telling me it's a 100-point win against the
Ross
Pies.
Lyon to Essendon, you reckon?
I'm just reading what's written here. It's fantasy.
What do you think of Ross Lyon's setup in the park after he was sacked?
I
thought I was worst on camera in terms of dress sense, but Ross Lyon's put me to shame, I think.
It was pretty good. Pretty swagger from him. Anyway, since we've got that out of the way, we'll see and find out. But there are some 100 to 1 and 100 plus.
Wow, we'd have to get him back on camera if that one gets on. But the way he's going, good luck, Avocado.
Good luck. All right. So in team news, we lost Zakarakis. He's probably done the year with an ankle. He might come back if they win a couple of finals. Cale Hooker should be back for Zerk Facture, who was laid in last week. Bell Chambers is also marked for return, possibly for Zach Clark, our boy. And then over at the Pies, De Goey's already ruled out with his hamstring. Darcy Moore could be inclusion. He's got through training, if I'll see that. And then, lo and behold, at training today, Hef, you're the man on the spot down there at Pies training. What happened to old Steel Sidebottom?
I did break the fill-in story last week, didn't I? Yeah, yes. This is concerning news for Steel Sidebottom, if you haven't heard already. He's out. Is ruptured the term they use, Smatho?
Ruptured testicle, yeah. So, yeah, apparently he went to smother someone, and the smother got him in the crown jewels. So, yeah, he's out.
Concerning for me because this is starting to become a bit of an epidemic in Australia. We've had Scott Thompson miss a game a couple of weeks ago with a similar affliction.
Yes.
A few years ago, there was some queries about the spate of knee injuries in the competition and whether players' knees could handle the modern game.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to start asking whether players' pill bags are handling the modern game?
Questions. Who will have the answers, though? Yes.
Well, someone's going to have to do a study on this, but I'm a bit worried.
No, you're not alone too. Tyson Brazil in the NRL, he suffered he busted testicle earlier this year, so it's an epidemic. He said, epidemic.
It's not like a three by any stretch. What's going to happen on Steel Sidebottom's wing? There'll be no one out there this week. He's sitting out on the opposite wing all year, trying to avoid the footy at times, it seems, and now there's going to be no one out there. So, I'm interested to see what happens there.
All right. Well, obviously the free resources on the Day Fantasy Rankings website guides you here, and the first thing I checked out earlier today was I actually checked out the Anzac Day game to see the player scores from that, and I noticed that Bell Chambers had a 99 up against Grundy's 123. So I thought, okay, bit of Bell Chambers. You get that $4,000 price difference between Moneyball and DraftStars. Moneyball, sorry, and $6,000 difference on DraftStars. So Bell Chambers possibly going to be first up. Needs a game before the finals. He's up against Grundy. Can we play him?
Oh, I guess so. Just on that Anzac Day performance, the 24 points between them and the big price. I'm just going to let the rest of my build decide who I end up throwing in the ruck here because I don't have any great opinion. I don't really like playing Bell Chambers, but I'm always wary, especially when he comes up against good rucks. He seems to take that on a bit, Bell Chambers, and I'm not so worried about him scoring so big as restricting Grundy from his high price. It gives us a few other little options in Roughhead, who's still a ruck on Moneyball. And he's always a reasonable option if you want to spend right down in the rucks. But then Sean McKernan here, 6,400's probably about as much as you'd want to pay for him on Moneyball. I prefer the 9,900 on DraftStars a bit better. But he plays that second ruck role, McKernan. We've talked about tall forwards against the Pies. When they're on, they're able to get the Pies a bit this year. He's got a 100-point upside. McKernan, he takes a few marks up forward. So if you don't want to spend up on Grundy, I'm sort of looking at McKernan rather than Bell Chambers. But I'll probably play a range and just see how many of these cheap guys get a game on when they name the teams and how many I want to put in my lineups and see if I can play Grundy or not.
Okay, true. Okay, let's move on to defence then. And Maynard, who's been scoring 70s all year this year, decided to come out and have 130 last week. He's currently 7,100 on Moneyball and 11,100 on DraftStars. Just underneath him is Jeremy Howe. He's at 6.6 Moneyball and 10.5 on DraftStars. So they're the two key pies that I'm kind of looking at as well. Geez, Essendon had some good scores against Freo last week in the backside, and the running guys all went pretty well. But poor old Hurley, who was playing key position last week, didn't get much. So, but I'm not sure who he actually goes to on Friday night. Do you reckon Hurley might be able to intercept it back again?
Yeah, I like when you say you don't know who Hurley's going to go to, because if there's no obvious matchup for him, he tends to just float around and gets involved in all that switch of play and float in third man up and take a few marks. So I think Hurley's got a really good spot there against the Pies. Talking about Maynard, he'd been so consistent all year, Maynard, going between 70 and 80, and then comes out, pops a big 130 against the Crows, who we know can give up points to the backs. All of a sudden, he's up over 7,000 on Moneyball, over 11,000 on DraftStars. I reckon he's more likely to go back to that sort of 70-80 score rather than popping off again like he did. So considering he's going to have that 130 sitting next to his name, I think that's going to affect his ownership. I'm more inclined to look elsewhere rather than chase the points on Maynard. I much prefer to play Howe, actually, if we're talking about Collingwood backs. He's a little bit cheaper on both sites, mainly because he's had a poor first half of the year. His ability to hit 80 and more is a bit more consistent than Maynard, so I'd prefer Howe in that instance. And then the other one is if Zerk Thatcher doesn't get dropped, I think he's going to be pretty popular because he's coming off 50 odd at minimum price. But a young key defender who's going to be popular, it seems like an opportunity to me to go elsewhere. Especially there might be a few good value options in this slate. So like you say, he might not get picked Zerk Thatcher, but if he does, I'm sort of hoping he does because I sort of want to go around him and play the other value options instead.
Yeah, he did play key back last week. So as I said, if there's nothing for Hurley, I'm not sure there'll be anything for Zerk.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's talk about mids. Now, obviously, Zach is out, and now Steel Sidebond's out. Let's talk about the Bombers first. You know, Zakaraka's out. Midfield's going to get a bump. Now, you're going to tell me who gets a bump here, straight out.
Well, I'm sure you've been on looking at the tools on the website, Smatho.
No, I thought I'd get you the plug at this time.
Let me have a look. Well, the player out's an obvious one was Zaharakis out. And then I was looking through the player scores tools as well, which are quite interesting. You can just look at all the scores from each game, and it stands out which game Zaharakis missed earlier in the year, which was against North Melbourne, and I looked at Merritt, Shield, and Heppel, the three big guns, all went off for 120 plus. I think Merritt had about 140. So I think it's pretty obvious that these are the guys who are going to get more of a bump. In terms of looking for someone to replace Zaharakis, who's been playing in midfield, wing, bit of halfback, sort of floating around there, I think Kyle Langford's probably the obvious one. There was a period of time last year Zaharakis missed 5 or so games in a row, and Langford had really good scores across that period. So
okay, all right.
He's a bit of a space cadet, Langford, and he's very hot and cold, but he does have the potential to score 100. So he appeals as a tournament play on that basis. And when we're talking about who can get some more outside ball, maybe Andrew McGrath, he'll be very popular in cash games like he generally is, but maybe they give him a little bit more upside for your tournament plays. But I would like to see McGrath go a bit higher than he seems to do when we're talking tournaments.
Now, what about Collingwood? Obviously, now Sidebottom's now out, so obviously a bit bumps to Adams and Treloar and Pendlebury like that. Just that's a given. As I said, who's going to be out in the wing? Possibly Phillips. You never know. Maybe they chuck someone out there. So, the guy I want to talk about is old Johnny Noble.
He's not that old, is he?
No, anyone named John is old. 7,500 on DraftStars, and he's at the bare minimum on Moneyball. You reckon he's a bit of a pick and move on?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty handy player, Noble. I've been impressed what I've seen on him so far. He's really cheap on Moneyball, so I think he's a lock there. 7,500 on DraftStars. I'm still pretty happy to play a fair bit of Noble. He makes space. He's got good skills. Yeah, I think he's a great play. We might have another cheap guy. I don't know if I've pronounced this guy's name right or not, Smatho. Tom Jock. Is it Jock or Joke?
No, Tom Jock. It's Jock. I watched him in pre-season. I remember watching him in pre-season, and I thought, oh, he's not bad. Not a bad player, this one.
He's I've done a bit of research on Jockey, and
is that his nickname?
it is now. But great athlete, good size, super runner, can pitch hit in the ruck, prefers to handball, and he's coming off 78 last week in the VFL, which is reasonable to translate to the AFL. It seems like he's got the game that he can get you sort of 50 or 60 at this minimum price. The big tank, runs off a wing a lot. I sound there like I know much more than I actually do about this bloke. I really don't have a clue. I was trying to bluff everyone, but a bit priced, and I just like the fact that he's a good runner. Like sometimes these blokes, they just score points through their sheer power of running. Tom Phillips is a great example of that. So I think he's got to be in play too. Tommy Jock.
Geez, debut on round 23 before the finals. That's ambitious.
It's a good time to get in, isn't it?
But it's very Essendon, though. It's very Essendon.
He's very injury prone, apparently, Jock.
Oh, yeah.
Struggled to string games together. So hopefully he gets through the game.
Oh, let's see. No, it was a joke there, but I thought I'll leave that in the...
All right.
Forwards. All right. Now, there's not really choose from here, Hef, unless we might get some team news Thursday night. Obviously, Jamie Elliott will probably be popular after his great performance last week. He's 5.8K on Moneyball. Chris Mayne, 6.7, was also doing some good things for the Pies. Maybe a bit of stringer. I saw that today. He didn't have much of a game against Freo. Everyone else did, but not him. He's at 6K, a flat 6. And then over at DraftStars, we've only got 3 forwards over 10K, which is Darcy Parish, Hoskin Elliott, and Maya Check. So there's obviously a bit of value down here to spend down. Is there anyone you like down here?
You mentioned Mayne. I love being able to play Mayne as a forward on Moneyball. He seems to make your lineups look good when you can fit Mayne in, especially if you're doing a pie stack. I just like the fact that when he's on the loose, Mayne, no one cares about him, and he does have 3-figure upside, so he's always on my radar. Mayne. I did mention Langford before as benefiting from the Zaharakis injury, so I'm pretty happy playing him up forward. A cheap guy, you talk. There's a fair few cheap guys. Braden Ham. He looked much better last week, I thought, over in WA against the Dockers. It's sort of his second stint in the team this year. He didn't set the world on fire by any stretch earlier in the year, but just looked like he had the pace of the game a bit better and scored 60 odd. And so at his price, he's 3,700 and sort of 7K on DraftStars. I think maybe he's been there. He's gone back to the VFL. Now he's come back up. Maybe he's a bit more ready to play, and I can definitely see sort of 10x upside at that price. So I'll be pretty happy playing Brandon Ham, actually, and releasing the cash for Grundy and those big price midfielders.
Yep. You're not missing much. If there's no real 13,000, 14,000 forward here that we don't need to select. So, yeah, pay down. And if Ham's there, get him in. He'll be pretty good. All right. Well done on the Friday night there. That was very comprehensive from you, Hef. So, it's time for the sneaky, Friday night sneaky. And obviously, we tipped a lot into Angus last week, getting up quite easily in the end. So,
first quarter, didn't he, Angus?
Yeah, still got there. Bit of junk time action helped us out. So, beautiful. Brodie Grundy is the sneaky this week, and Bet Easy have put up a massive line of 129.5. Now, if Zach Clark's picked, then load up. But Bill Chambers, this could be a little bit high, you reckon?
Yeah, that's a big number, 129. I don't have a great opinion, but I'd have to lean to the under.
Yeah, I'm all over the under.
I think
it'll be close. It'll be very close, but 130 points on a Friday night.
There'll be some happy grand finalists in season-long stuff if Grundy goes big on the Friday.
On a Friday night, yes, that'll be cock a hoot. All right, geez, we've had a big show already. Let's push on to Saturday. We've got 5 games, the last Saturday slate of the season, and it's a couple of games that are not really important in terms of the makeup of the ladder, but for daily fantasy purposes, Jesus, this could be very, very important. Sydney and St Kilda in Buddy's 300th. North versus Melbourne down here in Hobart. We also got the Cats and Carlton at the Cattery. Gold Coast and the Giants, and West Coast versus Hawthorn over in Perth. 30,000 on Moneyball, 50,000 on DraftStars. Check the resources as always on the DFR website, free to use. And obviously, you can tell straight away that we need to target the Suns, as we've been talking about all this year. So the Giants get them this week. Also, we checked out about Hawks being the very leaky team to backs. So also, we can't jam everything in from a Giants point of view. Any initial thoughts from Saturday?
Straight up, let's just say that. Let's just say we won't even bother talking about the Giants. They're all playable, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all playable.
Except maybe because Witts has been very good.
Yep.
Yeah, but we could go through all the Giants players and they're all in play against the Suns. This is our last chance to load up against the Suns for the year. I obviously saw the Trent 9 load up some Hawks against them last week and get the chocolates. All the Giants play. You can load them all on Moneyball if you want, but let's try and find some little alternatives.
All right. Keep it simple. All right. Let's start the rucks. Now, it's highly likely Max Gawn will be out going down to Tassie. So, and obviously Goldie's been playing pretty well. So, therefore, we might get a bit of Braden Pruce action. He's 5.4 on Moneyball and only 8K on DraftStar. So, he could be a little sneaky ruck selection to start with if we get no Gawn. What else you reckon in the ruck department?
Well, I think we saw the Swans have been a great team to target lately. They didn't even play. Well, they've been going with this Alir, Sam Reed sort of setup. Rowan Marshall comes up against them this week. He's lightened off a bit lately, but there's just you couldn't imagine a better spot for Marshall. So 9K on Moneyball, I think he's really solid. But DraftStars, he's up towards 16,000, which is pretty expensive. We talked about avoiding the rucks against Gold Coast for GWS, but Witt's going back at GWS, he seems pretty reasonable. Interesting, he's 9.5K on Moneyball, so he's more expensive than Marshall there, but go to DraftStars and he's in the 14,000s.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy going Marshall at Moneyball and Witts at DraftStars. Just on another one, what about Big Boy McAvoy? Did you see where he was playing last week?
Not in the ruck. No.
Yeah.
Was he like playing against half back or something? A little bit of centre half back or something?
A key defender. Now, I can always remember. Do you remember he's done this before, Smatho? Do you remember?
Yeah. Tell me.
He played against Port Adelaide over in Adelaide.
Yeah.
They put him at full back on Jay Schultz for some unknown bloody reason.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There's a bit of play when the ball went forward to Schultz and he just sort of turned McAvoy inside out, and poor old McAvoy looked like the Queen Mary. I've never forgot it ever. You'll never be playing key back ever again, McAvoy. What a stupid decision. And yeah, there he was on the weekend. He did a good job on the weekend, but I don't.
It's not fantasy related, though.
Well, it is fantasy related because if you play him again, how can you play him?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you were just like, McAvoy and the rucks he's selected, and you're like, yeah, click. No, you're not doing your research.
West Coast, who do have 3 genuine key forwards, do you reckon he's going to be there again?
Oh, a bit of Darling action. Send him straight to Darling. Geez.
He'd probably go to Kennedy because he's moving about as well as I am at the moment.
Yep, fair play. All right, let's move on to defence then. Well, as we talked about, the Hawks have been very leaky to backs. Obviously, the Suns didn't really do much last week in terms of the ball up there, kind of end of the field, but good spot for the Eagles here.
Oh, yeah, great. Actually, it's a bit harsh on my man, Piers, your man, Piers Hanley, actually. I think you've taken him over, Smatho.
Oh, I carried the flame. Yes, I did.
He got up against the Hawks last week, didn't he? And Jared Harbrow had a pretty good score as well. So even though it was the Jared Ruffhead Memorial game, those guys still got their points. So I think that bodes really well for the Eagles. It's hard to bring this up being an Eagles supporter, but did you see Tom Barras against Richmond?
Yeah, slip and sliding around on the grass, MG in the rain. That was good.
Oh, it was hard to watch because I love Tommy Barras, but a couple of those mistakes, they're just going to eat him alive in the media all week. But I'm on Big Tommy this week to bounce back against the Hawks.
Bounce back, nice, okay.
I think
all right.
the Hawks.
Yes,
They I know what it is, but they leave the big, stiff backman to get a bit more ball than they otherwise usually would. So he's priced really cheap, actually. He's like barely 8,000 on DraftStars and cheap on Moneyball. I reckon he can get you 80 odd Tommy Barrass. And Josh Rotham's pretty cheap in the back line too, or Moneyball, so he's an option. Shannon Hearn's the obvious option when you're talking backs for West Coast, but part of me just thinks Clarkson's not stupid enough to let Hearn get another 25 kicks. What do you reckon?
No, he's a good coach. Like he did that to the Giants as well. He just stifled their back line coming out of halfback. So you would expect the kind of same game plan there, just stifle their halfback midfield. So just be wary, I reckon, Hef.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. We've talked all year about you playing defenders against the Saints. Do you want to play some of these Swannies?
Well, they're at the G for Bays 300.
Yeah. Lloyd. Well, I don't know what's going on with Lloyd last week. He just didn't get involved in that Melbourne game. He'd be pretty keen to bounce back and get a heap of the pill. Rampy's ticking over right. Just have a look at who they pick team selection because I think they're in a good spot as well. And obviously, Giants, Zachy Williams, all those Giants are in play.
Yep. Any value plays that you're looking as well from the defence?
Our man Fizzy Brayshaw, still 7,500 on Moneyball.
Yes,
are still back eligible. I think he's definitely in there. What about he's got the mended bill bag, Scotty Thompson. It's his last game, isn't it?
Yeah, last game for the North. So yeah,
arena. He's pretty well priced actually. You notice on our cheat sheets he's really up there in the value rankings. So he'd be pretty keen to have a big final game, Scotty Thompson. And the last one on DraftStars, Blixarves as a back. If he's still got this ruck roll down at the tip against the Blues, he's in a great spot, I think. I think they're going to bring Reece Stanley back, though, this week. But if they don't and they stick with Blixarves, he's almost a lock.
Excellent. All right, let's move on to the midfield there for Hef. And on Moneyball, we wanted to play Giants players, but they're all over 10K. Taranto, Kelly, Whitfield are all over 10K. So that's going to be hard jamming all them in. Well, on DraftStars, they're a bit more, a bit more enticing at just over 15K. So you couldn't make a case to getting all three in there for you. Amazing what $1,000 to you in your mindset when you're looking at that. Now, down at Hobart, a couple of teams that are no longer in finals contention. Might be a bit of bruise-free footy, bit of ping-pong action down at Blundstone, depending on the weather, of course. But that's also could happen for the Saints and Swans game. Could mean there's less tackles, obviously, in the game, but obviously more marks and more possessions. Could these two games actually be fantasy-friendly for our mids if you want to get away from Giants mids?
Yeah, I like that thinking. Like Melbourne and North, they had bruise-free matches last week, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Very
differing fortunes, obviously. What about another angle? Round 23. Some of these guys are probably playing for their careers. Is that something we should consider with our lineups? Looking for the guys who are under the pump and it's maybe last-ditch saloon for them?
Yeah, there's a couple. Does there anyone come to mind?
No.
Good.
Yeah, that's about.
Yeah. Because obviously at Freo, they're playing the kids at Freo, which is great. It's Witkowski and Chera and Brayshaw, so you keep an eye on them. Obviously Geelong are trying to sprinkle in some sparkle narkle at 3,700. So there are options there. If you're looking for value instead of for studs.
Yeah, and Moneyball's loaded with value plays here in the midfield. We've got Sparkle Narkle, who you've also got the option, the opportunity, I guess, that people who played Narkle last week, it's going to take a little bit of guts to back up on him again, even though Moneyball, he's so cheap, 3,700. But people don't forget when these players let him down. Hanbury's still only 6,500. We talked about him last week.
Really?
Delivered.
Okay, yeah.
We talked about Florent last week. He delivered. He's still only 6,400. He's getting all the midfield time he wants. And my mate Higo against Port, he went berserk, 65 point last quarter. 8,300. That's still too cheap for Higgins, especially thinking he's going up against that Melbourne midfield. And then obviously you got GWS mids as well. DraftStars is priced a bit harder. So I was maybe looking at Ben Cunnington. He's only 11,000. A bit of a Tassie specialist, Ben Cunnington. maybe he is someone worth looking at. But I'm more inclined to play the GWS midfielders on Draft Stars because there's not the obvious value that there is on Moneyball.
Okay. All right. Let's go on the forwards for the slate. And Jezza Cameron's back for the Giants, trying to win the Coleman. 7.6 on Moneyball, 11,000 on Draft Stars. He'll be under some consideration in my kind of lineups. I had a look at the lines for all these games, and they're all pretty high. So North has a 25-point line. Brown, he kicked 10 goals last week. He has to be considering kicking a bag if he got a 4-goal head start. Geelong have a 30-point line against Carlton. So possibly, who's the key forward down there? The big guy. the Tomahawk. That's right. That's him. So he could be interesting. Sharp. Key forwards, or should we just looking for a bit of sneaky value from your forwards again?
I think you've nailed some really good spots there. One thing about round 23 is back in the day, you used to be able to back all the overs in the total match points markets because these games are usually very high scoring, especially the ones where the teams are out of contention. So in that theory, that points to above average games for the forwards. My favourite value play is the Lizard. We love the Lizard, Smatho.
We love the Lizard. Yes.
He's getting up the ground. The price hasn't caught up with what he's done the last couple of weeks, the Lizard. And yeah, I'm really keen to get him in my sides at a pretty nice price.
Not concerned about Buddy coming in?
Nah, because I think they're even talking about playing him off a wing, the Lizard, and Nick Blakey, obviously, if you're new to the show. If you are new to the show, make sure you subscribe, put your username in there, and win yourself a cap.
Wow. Good promotion there.
He was able to get through the midfield in time, so I think we're starting to see that already. So all aboard the Lizard train.
Very good. All right, I'll let you read your sneaky mail that's just come through, but let's go through the Saturday sneaky. Also, we missed out on Brad Crouch after Adelaide stunk it up. So I've gone back to the North Melbourne boat here, and I've gone on to Sportsbet and chucked on the old 30 or more disposals, and I've highlighted Ben Cunnington at $2.30 to get 30 or more down in Hobart. That's my sneaky.
Yeah, I like it.
Geez, a lot of yeses from you tonight, Hef.
Oh,
it's just.
I feel like
you're on some sort of hay fever medication that's just rattling you around a moment, just saying yes to Smatho.
It's making me very agreeable. No, I prefer when we disagree, we can put it to a poll and I can knock you off. But this week you've gone very safe. You're a bit scarred, I think, in recent losses. So yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I'm sick of paying rake. So let's quickly just move on to Sunday slate. 20,000 Moneyball, 40,000 on Draft Stars. 3 games: Bulldogs in Adelaide at Ballarat, which would be pretty nice. Richmond and Brisbane in the lowest scoring fantasy game you'll ever see, and Port Adelaide versus Freo. Geez, another coach is gone. As I've already read from the hot mail from the Avocado, he's apparently at the Bombers, signed and delivered already. So don't be surprised if Port make a mill of this. What do you reckon?
Have you backed Freo yet?
Yep. Yep. So yeah, as I mentioned before, I like the prospects of the Freo's young brigade now. So they've been showing some fantasy light, more midfield time. So I wouldn't be piling into Fife. I think that's one of my bit of a takes for the week. Just back off him, get his mates. Hopefully Lathams gets another go. Obviously he got killed last week. He's 4.7, so he's kind of the standout value play if he gets picked. As I mentioned, Richmond and Brisbane are going to be low fantasy scoring. They're very stingy. They don't score themselves. And then also we have to check out Ballarat's forecast for their weather if we're going to get a flowing Bulldogs outfit against the Crows.
I've got a little bit of news actually for the diehards who've stuck around right to the end here, Smatho.
Oh yes, very diehard, very good. Thanks for joining us too. This better be good because I haven't seen this yet. No.
I've got a bit of mail from one of the Milanos.
Yes.
He's brought to our attention. Brett Ebert has confirmed that Port Adelaide has asked him to defer payments until next year.
What?
Be a worry. Old Koshy, make yourself 10K in 30 days or whatever he's coming up with. Mr. Money Apparently, Brad Ebert has been asked to defer his payments until next year. What is going on there?
That's extraordinary, if it's true.
Does that have an impact on the team when they're running out this week? And
Oh, yeah, for sure.
next, it's a bit like it's a bit like you and us on the show, actually, Smatho.
Yeah.
To defer our payment. So thanks to Milanos. Oh, this is going to have to be a regular segment, me breaking news at the moment. I'm doing more work than Tom Brown at the moment and making more sense, I like to think, as well. But
no, you've come good on the old journalism the last couple of weeks. So
that is especially a good one. I don't know what's going on there at Port. I especially don't know what's going on there at Port if they play Laddams again and they don't bring Lysett back. Like this Gary Dempsey Laddams fellow, it didn't work for him against Goldstein. And you go and recruit Lysett, and he was having an excellent time when he was racking one out. And next thing you know, he's not even in the team. I think last game of the year, they're going to bring him back. He's going to be hungry as anything. So I think Lysett's a great play on Sunday if he comes back into the team. And I actually liked playing the Bulldogs against Adelaide. We know Adelaide can give up money to the midfielders. Bulldogs, they just strangle other teams' midfields at the moment. They killed GWS on the weekend. I love McRae at Ballarat. I think they're probably my favourite approach if you're looking for a team to stack on Sunday.
All right. Let's draw this cap, eh? Let's draw this cap. So I will get our executive producer, the avocado, to troll through the usernames of the show. So thanks for joining us tonight. Obviously, keep an eye out on the Day Fantasy Rankings website for our... Wow. Look, hang on. I didn't catch that. We've got what? Wow. Milanos. Who else we got there? Nicky Boys and... Milanos and Nicky Boys, you both get caps tonight. Thank you very much. So we'll draw out the YouTube users as well. We've got a couple of caps as part of DraftKings. So make sure you put your username on the YouTube channel comments, like the page, subscribe to the channel, Hef.
Subscribe.
Very good. Now, also 22, rolling 22, DFS All Australian of the Year. Have some ideas, hit us up on the socials. So we've just ticked on the 1 hour mark here, Hef. What a big show we've had tonight. We'll come back next week. We'll do a bit of a casual, review of the AFL season. Then we'll see if we can try and make some money from other DFS sports because we'll be missing out next week.
Sounds good. I want to see a pic on Twitter from Milanos and Nicky Boy Potatoes if you're on Twitter as well. Send us a pic with the cap on when we get it to you.
Nice. Thank you very much for all that's joined tonight. Good luck with your AFL, NRL, PGA, cricket teams. And if there's any questions or queries, always hit up on our socials at Smatho10, at Hef's one there as well. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next week on the next edition of the DFS Down Under Show. Thanks, Hef.
Thanks, mate. See you.
See ya.